It's Donna. It is Saturday afternoon, and I thought I would give you a quick little overview of Lightroom, just looking at some images and some of the modules and tools that are accessible in Lightroom. So at my screen right now, on my screen right now, you'll see I have 4 images loaded into my Lightroom catalog. These are in a main folder that I call Client Images, Raw TIFFs, and PSD, and it's located in my hard drive on my Mac. And then inside this folder, I have folders that are for commercial, family, maternity, etc. These folders are actually on my Mac hard drive. All Lightroom is doing is telling me that I am able to access those folders through Lightroom. It's going to keep that data stored in Lightroom that every time I want to open up one of these photos, I just have to go into Lightroom. They're already stored in here. I make my edits, and those edits are stored within Lightroom, but also the image is out there on my Mac or my external hard drive, and that's where the actual image resides. So I was going into this commercial folder and doing some work on some TIFFs that I had in here. So these were raw files that I've already saved as TIFFs just because I wanted to work on those today and show you what we can do with some of the Dvelopp tools over here. So here are 4 images that I have inside of Lightroom, and I'm going to double click to bring this one up. And this will show you your information, and these are all custom settings by going into your menu bar, and you can custom put what information you want to show here. That's all something that you can do as an individual on your own Mac or computer. But what we want to do now is we want to click over here onto the Dvelopp mode. When you're in Dvelopp, you can see that you now have a lot of different modules inside the Dvelopp module. There are things in here from the very basic to working with your tone curve, working with your colors and black and whites, if you want the split tone, sharpening and reducing noise, your lens correction, vignetting, and camera calibration. So these are all the options you have, and I normally work my way down. There are some times where I actually go down and start to work on some of my colors first, depending on what my idea is for the image. So this image was taken of a friend who is an author, and he wanted some photos for on his website. So I just brought him into the studio and just caught a few one day with him just for fun, and I'm going to use this one with us today to just see what we can do with some editing on here. So when I'm looking at this image, I can see that I shot it kind of cool, and I work on more of the cooler side of things and not a real warm tone to my images. So my white balance, you're going to normally see a lot of my photos more on the cooler side. But in this particular photo, I know it's going to go on the website, and it's not for my personal use or something that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to set this, tone this up for his use and what I think he would like after talking with him. So you have options on your white balance right here. You can do the as shot, which will tell you what you can use as your custom build-ins, or you can do your own by finding something white on the image, which I'm going to have a hard time on this one finding something that's really going to be white enough. As you can see, as you click in, it's going to bring a white balance to your photo based on where you click. That's all you got to do is go and find something that is white, a nice tonal white, with hardly any highlights in it, so you can get a nice overall white balance. Or you can do a custom white balance and say you want it to be auto, or you can work within right here of making it cooler or making it warmer, and then you kind of decide where you want that to be. Same with tint. You can tint it very green, tint it very magenta, or tint it somewhere in the middle. All of these sliders work left to right, less or more, less or more. And this is simply a matter of just slotting those sliders to where you feel you've met the perfect balance. Remember we talked about the histogram. Here's my histogram, and as you can see, I have very little nice tonal curve here. Not a nice bell curve at all. I've got some spikes right here. What happens if I want to open up those spikes? If you move them too far over, the image gets darker. Move it too far over, you blow it out. The histogram will tell you what's going on in your photo. And that's another entire tutorial that I'll work on for you guys. So we're just basically going over some of these different elements within the Dvelopp module. And it's all a lot of practice. They're very, very simple to read and understand. Truly, you can read these. Lightroom has made it very easy for us to understand. The hard part is tweaking it to get it just right. And sometimes you can spend a minute, or sometimes you may take you 20 minutes to half an hour. It depends on how you shot the image and what you think you want to do to the image. My advice is just take an image that's very simple like this and just decide what you want to do with it. Do you want to make it black and white? Do you want to make his eyes stand out? Is his color of his clothing more important than the color of his hair? Do you want the background to be darker? Do you want him to be brighter? Kind of get an idea of what you want your image to look like, and then start to work through the sliders. You may find that you'd rather start and work on something down on this area first, where you want to maybe, change some of the luminosity, make his skin, let's go over here and bring his skin in. His skin there is much too soft. Bring it back and bring some detail back to his face. Okay, so all I want you guys to do today is just practice on your Lightroom or whatever software you're using to edit. Just get over here and truly go in, find a very simple photo, and just really learn how when you change these sliders and you're watching that histogram, the effect to your photo and where your sliders are in relation to each other. You have to practice this. Practice, practice, practice. Each tutorial that I do will be focusing on one part of the panel, the Dvelopp module. So we'll go through, we'll learn about the histogram, we'll learn about all of these different effects that you can do on a photo, we'll learn about the tone curve, we'll learn about all these different elements and how to put those together. I want you to be familiar with the terminology, where the panels are within the module, and what they do, so that when we work on an image together in a tutorial, you'll be able to ask me questions and we'll be able to correct those, or answer those questions right there and then, and you'll be able to see it in action, because I'll send you the file that I'm going to be working on so that you can download it and bring it into your Lightroom or editing software, and we can work on these things together so we learn together. Okay, so this is just a real quick thing. I'm just giving you a heads up that these tutorials are coming. I'm working on them, and this is just a hello. I'm here on a Saturday doing a little bit of everything but nothing, and I thought I'd make sure that you guys know to get prepared, understand the terminology, work on your sliders, and we'll go from there. Okay, I'll be talking to you guys again soon. See ya!